afternoon, everybody. Let me introduce you to our final participant in the spring interview series on my relationship with a narc. She goes by the name Courageous Ummi. She's in her early 30s, a mom of 4. And she, when ask people, well, what made you have the courage to submit your name to be a part of this discussion, to be a part of this panel of very brave women? And she explained to me that she's here because she wants to help other women. And even though she's in her healing process herself, she feels like these stories and hers as well can help other people avoid getting into this same kind of trouble. And not feel like they're the only one. She wants to make sure everybody understands you're not alone in this. And she says that, for a long time, it was very difficult for her to talk about this. And so this, coming forth at this point where she can now talk about it without being upset and being overly emotional is a very important step on her own journey. So let's welcome Courageous Ummi to the show. Hey, lady.
Hello.
Don't be nervous. It's just me. And we're just gonna have a conversation because you have a very interesting story to tell. And I like the attitude that you have. You want to share it because you want to help other women make sure they don't make the same errors in judgment and learn from your experience. That's why we're here. So let's
Correct.
talk about, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I gave the basics, but you want to flesh that out with some more information about who you are as a lady.
Well, I come from a background of different types of abuse. From a young age, I came from a 2-parent household, but it was not my biological father. I had a stepfather. But it was a normal, functional relationship from what I saw. My father, my biological father, is still on drugs till this day. And he's been involved, but he's always struggled with drugs. Me and my mother's relationship is not too well. It's better, but it was horrible at a point in time. We couldn't even be like in the same room, nothing. So that came a long way too. But my journey started at the age of 4. And at 4 is when my abuse started on the sexual side.
At 4, girl?
Yes, at 4. So from the age of 4 to 12, I was being like molested and raped by 2 boy cousins, and then there was a female cousin that nobody knew that they were doing it. So everybody was doing it on their own. But the female cousin, I believe, well, I know now that it's because of what she was going through too, because we were close together. We were like sisters. And so, yes, it went on for a while. It finally came out, but when it came out, I really didn't get the reaction I thought I was going to get. And so it came out when I was about 13. Nothing was done. My mother had told me, oh, you should have said something earlier because I could have did something. And why did you wait so long to say something? And that was the end of that. So she never got me into counseling. She did disconnect from her side. That was from her side of the family. So she did disconnect with them. But I still to this day feel like she didn't do everything that she could have done, because with me now having my own children, it ain't no way. It is no way that I would have just been like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. And so later on, at the age of 24, I found out that I guess there was not a statute of limitation, and she could have did something, and I could still do something to this day, but I haven't went all the way out like that.
Tell me something. So you just started, you were 4. Do you recall how old these cousins were at the,
I know they were teenagers. So they were like in between the ages of probably like 15 and 17.
On a 4-year-old?
Yes.
You
So
know,
yeah.
I just have to slide this in here right quick because I always tell parents, do not trust teenage boys around little kids. Do not trust teenage boys around small children, male children, female children. Do not leave them to their own devices. I mean, technically they're kids themselves, you know what I mean? But the hormones start taking over and they get stupid and they do dumb shit. And this is your story here is a perfect example of why I say that. I'm
Right.
so sorry. Girl, 4 years old.
Yes. I was a baby. I was like, how can you even look at a 4-year-old like that?
That's what I'm saying. There's something, the teenage boy brain, there it's not normal. And I think a lot of parents, will and other relatives, they don't think like that. They don't want to accept that. And I'm telling people, don't be so trusting. Protect the little ones from the teenagers. You're also protecting the teenagers from themselves because they are just stupid. I can't think of any other, I don't know any other word to use.
Right.
So you made it through that. So you're 13, 14, you made
13.
it through that. That's when it
I
came
made
out,
it
right?
through that. That's when it came out at 13. At 16, I ended up pregnant at 16 and did not realize I was pregnant. So I actively in the community, I am a community doula and help women with childbirth and prenatal stuff, breastfeeding. I didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't gain any weight. I was still having a cycle. And
Oh boy.
we never had the whole little, oh, this is what happens when you reach this age and the birds and the bees. We did not have that conversation.
Wait a
Uh,
minute. Your mother did not tell you anything about your body changes and all of that?
no, how I learned was through a book. She gave me a book, but she never like talked to me like one on one, like mother and daughter. She gave me a book. So that's why I guess that was the start.
Okay.
So she gave me the book, but we didn't figure out I was pregnant. I was about 14 weeks pregnant, and I ended up losing the baby. I had a miscarriage. I actually had the child on top of the toilet. The night before, my mom, she was like, oh, because I was like, I'm cramping so bad. I didn't know what was, I'm like, I don't know. I ain't never been pregnant before. And I was just cramping. And she was like, oh, just take some Tylenol and come lay down. She wanted me to lay down in the bed with her. It was the weirdest thing. And she was like, just come in my bed, lay down, and take the Tylenol. So when I got up the next morning and I thought I had to use the restroom, I pushed the baby out.
Oh
Saw his
boy.
saw his fingers, eyes, everything. I'm talking about scared. I'm talking about like, I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? So my mom, she was on her way going to work when all this happened. She told me I had to ride the bus with my dead son wrapped up in a towel and go through the emergency room because she was still gonna go to work. And what she told me
What?
was, yes, yes. And the baby, the messed up part, when I pushed the baby out, the cord, the umbilical cord and stuff, the placenta and stuff was still in there. It was still in there. So when you have a baby, when you push that baby out, that placenta is supposed to come out within so many minutes or a certain period of time. It didn't come out. So I'm on the bus with my son wrapped up in this towel, trying to get to the bus, and I had to wear my clothes funny and stuff. And I got to the hospital, and they was like, well, we can't do anything until your parent is here. So they finally got a hold of her so she could sign paperwork and stuff because I was still considered a minor.
Right.
But I'll never forget that. I would never, and she always she kept telling me, the next time, the next time. And all I kept thinking was, all this time, I've been getting abused all this time and never got pregnant. So I didn't, when I decided to willingly to try something, I didn't think, oh, I'm going to get pregnant.
Oh. So is that when you stopped talking to your mother?
Yes, that's when everything kind of just went haywire. So I finally, like, eventually I left home. I was already out of school because I had graduated early and stuff. So I was already out of school. So that was a good thing. So I did college and stuff. And it was a period of time where I moved back with my mom. And my Mr. Narc, this is around the time where I've been knowing him all of my life. We have been knowing each other since we were like 3 and 4 years old. We have known
Oh,
for forever. So I'm not sure if how long the prepping lasts or whatever, but he did a good job. But
the grooming process, you mean?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So that's when that started. So he ended up moving in with me and my mom and my siblings because him and his sister got put out from his mother, who had just recently got married. He didn't put out his kids, but she put out her kids. So they came and stayed over there with me and my mom, with our family. But we like grew up together. We used to go to church together and stuff, and go camping. We did a whole bunch of stuff together. Like it's
So that's that's what Black folks call my play sister, my play brother.
right.
Okay.
So it was like that. So he moved in. When he moved in, that's when we started. That's when we got even closer. So then we ended up getting married. So
So
we're
how
like
old were
18,
you when all this was happening?
we like 18, 19 getting married.
Okay.
And
Kids.
that is a big no. So we was 18, 19. We got married. I got pregnant with my first son. Everything was all right. Then I came up pregnant again with my third child, which is my oldest daughter. And I was working. I was going to school. We made good money. We lived very comfortable. It wasn't no 50-50 thing. He paid most of the bills and everything. I really didn't have to work. It was my option to work. I was able to breastfeed my children, cloth diaper, all the stuff that I wanted to do, I was able to do it with no stress, with no nothing. I was able to be a mama. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, I fell into this depression. And they said it was postpartum. And I kept telling him for a long time, I was like, I just didn't want to be pregnant. I didn't want nothing to do with him. It was bad. I was like,
Wow.
no. I was like, just stay away. You have the cootie. It was weird. But when I fell into the depression, they recommended taking medicine. They recommended taking medication to help with the depression and stuff. He used to take the meds. Now, I'm not pro-med, but if you know you're having issues or you're depressed or something's not right, tell somebody. You have to tell somebody. Even if it's not your family, you have to tell somebody. And I kept saying, no, I need these pills. They kind of seem to be working or whatever. Let me take them. So he started taking them. And he was like, you making this up. You making this up. You ain't nothing wrong with you. You not sick. And I kept saying, nah, I just think it's part of the hormones and stuff. So that's when that started. So it was little stuff like that. And then when his mom got involved and basically said that she gonna disown him, and she basically like pushed him to the side because we was doing our own little family thing. So that's when the abuse came in. That's when the physical and the mental and stuff really kicked in. So now I'm feeling like I'm stuck with two babies, because he used to say, ain't nobody gonna want you with no two babies. Ain't nobody gonna want you. He used to say that all the time. And I'd be like, what do you mean? I just can't believe, that you telling me this, but I know it's not true, but okay. But he used to throw the babies up in my face all the time. Ain't nobody gonna want you. So it got to the point to where my oldest son, he had came to me. He was about 3 years old. So I'm now in my 20s. He was about 3 years old. And we had got into an altercation, and I ended up with a black eye. And this is the first time that he got to the point where he left marks on me. Because we used to fight. Like, I'm talking about, like, WWF. Like,
Oh my
we
God.
have, like, holes in the walls. Like, any place that we live, we had to go in and fix the stuff that we done tore up from fighting.
Oh my God.
So,
Girl.
cause in the beginning, I was a fighter. I was like, man, and at first, in the beginning, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I thought it was me. I was like, well, maybe, maybe if I did it like this, maybe he wouldn't get mad. And I'm like, the stuff that you get mad about, it's not my fault.
Right.
So once I started processing that, I was like, you just ain't finna be getting these lick ins like this. We finna know it's not finna go down like this. So my son pulled me to the side. Now I done tried to cover up my face and make it all neat and everything. And my son pulls me to the side. And he goes, "Well, I need to talk to my daddy." And I'm sitting there like, "What is this little boy talking about?" He tells his dad, Why do you hit my mom?" And when I say it blew my mind, because I'm sitting there thinking in my head, they weren't even at the house. They weren't even at the house when it went down, when that happened.
Girl,
But
they can see them holes in the walls y'all left.
he still knew. He was like, mm-mm. So when I saw my baby saying that, in my head, I'm like, okay, it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, because I had told his mom, and his mom was like, "Oh, well, maybe it's something that you're doing, and you need to give up what you want to do in your life for my son." And that's when I really was like, "No, y'all just crazy. This
Wait
ain't."
a minute. Do you think did your husband view that kind of stuff going on in his household with his mother growing up? So he thinks that's normal and okay?
So I didn't find that out till after we got married. And how I found that out was through the grandmother. And the grandmother was telling me her story with her husband. So this is his grandpa that she's telling me about. So she told me that he used to chain her up. He was a police officer. And he used to chain her and beat her. And back in the day, if you called the police because you done got beat on, they ain't gonna do nothing. You
Especially if
just
it's another
beat on.
cop. They're not going to do anything.
Right. So his mother had experienced the domestic violence for, I guess, the whole period of time that his mom and dad were together, because they stayed together for a long time. But he had a drug issue. He had a drug issue, and he used to steal stuff in the house, steal the kids' bikes and stuff, and go pawn them and stuff for drugs and stuff. Um, they experienced that, and their mother, I guess, basically, taught them, y'all not supposed to tell nobody what's going on, in the house.
Right.
Because they had been dealing with that all them years. But what scared me was I grew up with them. We had little slumber parties and sleepovers and stuff like that. And I would have never knew. If you would have told me that, I would have been like, "Nuh-uh, that's not true." And so that didn't come out until after we had married. But once I hit my breaking point and I knew it was time to go, it was time to go. So he went to work one day, and I packed up my babies and everything I could. I had to leave my books and I had to leave my dog. And I was just like, this is horrible. I never found out what happened to the dog, and he sold all my books and stuff, because I have a book fetish. I love books. That's one thing I will spend money on is books. And I got away. And this was probably about the third time that I tried to get away. But this time I did it different. I waited till he went to work. I didn't tell anybody where I was going. And I changed my number. So I
Good
packed
job.
everything. I could pack in my little car. I had a little Mitsubishi Luan. I packed everything I was packing that thing. And we went on the road and we left. And I stayed going about 8 months. And then I came back to Dallas for something. I don't know. what it was. I had came back for and got in a car wreck. So I wasn't able to go back to where I was because I wasn't where I where I stayed or whatever I had left. So I ended up in the shelter. When I went to the shelter, we didn't have anything. It was basically just us. We didn't have the car anymore. So basically, I had to start my life all over again with nothing. And when I say nothing, nothing. That stuff that we had in the car, we was able to pack it up. And them people was able to help us take it to the shelter. That was the only thing that went. Everything else, it was in that car. I couldn't get it. I didn't trust nobody, telling nobody anything. So I made it out of the shelter. We did good. I filed for divorce. And this is when my story gets, for me, I think that the physical, yeah, it happened and everything, but it happened. I went through it. I went beast mode when I could, but I made it through that. But when I filed for divorce, when I filed that paperwork, that was a whole nother monster. Like, and so currently now I'm going, about 12 years, 10 to 12 years in the family court systems with him.
What?
Yes. And my children are teenagers now. He's never paid child support. I don't know how you do that. He's never paid child support. He's done his little stalking stuff. He's done a lot of stuff. So currently, right now, I have my youngest two children, because I have a total of 4 children. I have my youngest 2 children, but I'm not primary for my oldest 2 children. And he is the one that has. I have my other children now, but my oldest 2 are with him. So now the abuse goes through the court system and the children.
Right.
So it's a different monster. And once you get tangled up in that family court, and family court is very expensive. Very expensive. It's not cheap. Very expensive. And it's drained me. I'm not to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm finna let up, but it's drained me. But in the last 2 years is when he just recently got the children. So before then, he didn't have them. So it's just been the last 2 years that he's had them. But I swear he knows somebody in the court. He's never paid child support for the children, like, since they've been here. He got credits when we went to child support court. He got credits for his child support. He owed over $75,000 in child support. Do you know that they went in and credit this man to where he doesn't even owe like 20? It's probably not even 20,000.
Who did that?
The courts did. The judge. Isn't that?
You're right. He must know. He knows somebody.
He got to know somebody. He has to. But the point is, he's dragging me through the court, causing me more money, which could be going to private school, which could be going to savings for the children. It could be going to a list of stuff. Now, he's never helped with them. When I had to figure out how to do school uniforms, school supplies, sick, all of that, I was doing all of that all them years. Yeah, you got them now, but now they got me paying you, and you ain't never paid a dime, and we both know it.
That's a narc for you.
And I think that is just so crazy, but it's going on. And before it happened to me, there was an article and there's a book that talks about battered women that leave their abusers and they actually lose custody of their children, even though they were the victims. And this is a big new epidemic that a lot of people do not know about, because a lot of women don't talk about it. Just like in my situation, I'm just now being able to get to this point, but I done seen both sides of the fence, the receiving child support and not receiving child support. I've seen both sides. So it's a different, I'm looking at it totally different now. Because I'm pro 50-50 custody. I believe everybody, if you're trying to be involved with your child and you trying to have a good relationship and make this little person a good person, okay. So why not split everything 50-50? But it has to do with money, has to do with the state. Everybody wants their little dips in. Everybody wants their little cut off of their little percentage. So when these women go out here and have these children, I tell people all the time, these young girls, yeah, you pregnant, but remember, when you had a baby, that's your baby. If they get up and decide that they ready to leave, or that I'm finna move in with my other girlfriend, or whatever, you stuck with that baby. So is that what you really want to do? Is that what you had on your agenda? Is that on your plan, on your to-do list? Is it anywhere on there? I want to know before you do this, because you can't take it back. They're not going nowhere.
That's that's a good point to bring up to them, because I think a lot of them also too, they don't think past, well, I'm having a baby, a baby. They don't think about, okay, this kid's going to grow up and it's going to need stuff. And as they get older, the stuff that they need costs more and more and more money. Even your food budget, doubles and triples by the time they hit them teens. You
Right.
got a teenage boy in the house, you can forget it. You spending $100 a day damn near. So it's like, you know, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I think, no, thank you for doing that and for, bringing that to the young girls' attention, because I think a lot of people don't give them that reality check. They just fill them with platitudes like, well, God's going to make a way. God don't put nothing on you that you can't handle and stuff
Well,
like that.
another thing that they do is they go tell them to go get on welfare and stuff. And I'm a mother of 4, and I don't get Section 8. I don't get food stamps. I don't get it because I don't even qualify, because I'm out there doing what I need to do school-wise or whatever. So it can be done. But when you include that stuff in it, it tangles you up even more in their system.
Yeah, it does.
And they do not care. It has nothing to do with the well-being of the children and all of the other stuff. Because when they go in that court, them attorneys, yeah, you paid them, but they really not representing you.
This is just really sad. So give us some ideas of um, some of the kind of stalking behaviors that he did when you tried to leave him.
Well, one of his favorites is he likes to follow me. He likes to follow me, and then he also likes to threaten the children to get them to tell them information about me. Oh, well, where your mama staying at? Who she be with? What she do? And all type of stuff like that. Like, because Mother's Day weekend, he tried it. And my oldest too, they came to me and they was like, well, Daddy been threatening, telling us if we don't tell him where you stay at, that he gonna beat us. And I said, what? And they was like, yeah. And I was like, well, y'all let me know if anything happens or if anybody touch you. But once that time comes, y'all have to open your mouth. And I just feel like they're being shut down, like how I was being shut down as a child, but it's in a different form. So yeah, they
Exactly.
didn't go through the sexual abuse, but they still being shut down in a certain type of way. And the stepmom or whatever she is, she mistreats them. It's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to prove, because they haven't found me like unfit or anything like that, because it used to be 50-50. It was 50-50 custody, and then he sent in the modification to take it back to court. So depending on who files the motion first, they have a little bit more say so in the process of what's going on in the court.
How old are the two oldest now?
13 and 11.
Oh, they're not old enough. Okay.
Well, where I am, they're supposed to be old enough, but it's not a guarantee that the judge will let them have some say so, because it's supposed
Right.
to start at 12. But it's not a guarantee, because some of them judges, they do whatever they want to. So those judges, when they order child support and all that other stuff, they get paid. They get a cut off of that. All of that
Oh,
stuff is,
do they?
yes. Child support, like here where I'm at, they get a percentage off of that stuff. So even if I'm sending in $500 in child support, I may only get $300. They be getting a percentage. The courts, all of that, they all linked. They all loop. It's a whole little rabbit hole. The court system, the family court system, is like so like corrupt. Like,
Oh
it makes
boy.
no sense. It's horrible. It is horrible.
Here they only do that if the children are getting services,
Uh-huh.
because then the county and state want to get, a portion of their investment back, because they're
Right.
providing Section 8 food stamps,
Right.
Medi-Cal, this kind of stuff. So the person gets like $50 of it, and the state takes the rest
Gets
because
the rest of
they're basically being reimbursed for
it.
all the
Right.
stuff that they put forth that the father didn't. But
Right.
it used to be 50. I don't know what it is now. But yeah, that's kind of wild. So is he on
So
services? Is he getting services for the
he's
kid?
not on services, but when I was homeless, when I first left, the oldest two, they received services. And
Okay.
so I have my youngest two. I get child support for my youngest two children. I don't have any issues with receiving child support. The child support that he was supposed to pay that I get for my youngest two is probably like 4 times that. So on my end, it looks crazy because his children receive services, but they tried to go after my youngest two's dad because of the services that his children, because even though they're his children, that's still my household. So
Right.
they still counting everybody. So they tried to go after my youngest two dad and tried to link up, and I was like, no, y'all got the wrong person. And y'all got the address. I done gave you the address. I done gave you his business name. He doesn't put anything in his name purposely. Nothing is in his name. His cell phone, his bank account, nothing is in his name.
Yeah,
His
that's how
mother
they
and
do.
his sisters help him. His mother and his sisters help him, and the new chick he got helps him because they like to stalk me together too. They do it together sometimes,
The
which I
flying
think is
monkeys.
crazy. I think that's crazy. If you supposed to be happily married and this is your husband, why is you following me, girl? You ain't got nothing to do.
She's trying to win favor with him. She's doing what he wants him to do. They call those the flying monkeys. That's the narcs, his crew. They go out and do his dirt for him, so he don't have to do it, and then they report back. They're
Yeah.
so anxious to get his favor and a pat on the head, thinking that they did something that he likes, that they do things, even if it's against the children's welfare and what's in
All
best
of
interest
that.
of the children. They don't care about that. All they care about is pleasing that narc. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what my oldest two were dealing with now. Because the stepmom or whatever, we have the same name, but it's weird. We have the same name. She was the other woman when we were married. So she just, oh, I know who she is. But it's always been like she trying to compete with me or something. I'm like, you would never beat me. Yeah, we have the same first name, but you a cloned copy, want to be clone copy. But no, she's tried to make my children call her mom and stuff. Just weird. It's just weird stuff that they do.
Oh my
They do
God.
it. They do it together. She steals my daughter's stuff, so my daughter is having issues with both of them now. They're going through their little acne phase and stuff, and I make natural body products and stuff, and so I send her with products for her to use for her skin, and she'll go and steal her stuff, take her stuff from me. And I'm like, you're a grown woman. Why is you taking 11-year-old stuff? You can't go to
Probably
the
the
store.
only way around that, if you send some for the kids, you have to send her some too.
She said,
I'm just saying, if you, you know what I mean? If you have the materials, you send the kids their stuff and then say,
so
oh,
send it like both.
right. And then say, oh, so and so, I understand that you like the products too. Here's one for you. Even though it's like, it sounds like it's BS. The goal is, if you got it, you know what I mean? I mean, don't be going through no financial strain or nothing. But if you want your kids to have it, there has to be some give and take here, so she can feel like she has her own. She doesn't have to compete with the kids, and then your kids can have it, and she won't feel like she's left out. Because that's what it sounds like a little kid. Well, you have some. Would they give it to you, and they didn't give me any, and so she takes it for herself. It's just a suggestion. It
I'll
might
take
not
that
even
position.
work.
I never thought of it like that, because I feel like she being petty. I'm like, you felt
Girl,
like you
she's jealous,
ran
but
pride.
you just said that she's jealous, right? So if she's jealous of you, and what you do, okay, then that means she's going to be envious of what you can do, your creative abilities, your talents, your skills, all the stuff. So she's going to see, okay, she made this, and the kids love it. Okay, that makes her feel, someone who's jealous and insecure, that makes her feel even more jealous and insecure. So the only way to get into somebody like that's head is to make them feel special. It's game. We both sitting up here
Play that
plotting how is
game.
we gonna mess her head up. But the mess, that's fine. You go over there and play with your toy, and as long as my kids have theirs, and tell me what, is this your favorite scent? Do you like roses, peaches, lemon? What you like? I'll make it for you. You see what I mean? It costs you what,
Right.
$2, but it's gonna help your kids get what they want, and that's just a way to, keep her, just
At
calm
bay.
her ass down. Then basically, let's calm her down. You see what I mean?
Yes, I understand.
So, I mean, like I
That's
said,
been
though,
a
there's no
struggle.
guarantee that it will work, but that tends to work, I'd say probably 95% of the time with women like that. They just don't want to feel left out. They're like little kids, mentally and emotionally. And she's in competition with your daughter.
So she does stuff to him and everything, and dad doesn't do anything. And then, like, now the children, as they're getting older, they know what's going on. And so now they bringing it to my attention, but I'm like, I don't even know what to tell y'all. Like, that's your dad.
What can you do?
It's just like, oh my goodness, because my son has come to me before, because I even got to the point to where I was like, I was gonna jump state, like it was gonna be for real. We finna, mama may be a criminal after this, but we finna ride this out. But I don't got. I've been to that point. I've gotten to that point many times, and still haven't done it. May not do it, but to know that originally when I left, I didn't say, okay, oh, he's not gonna be able to see his kids, and I was like, okay, I still want them to be able to have a relationship with their father, which I feel like now at the age that I am now and the experience that I have now, I feel like I should have just left, because when I filed them papers, man, when you marry them, it's a whole nother ball game.
Well, that's because now they have papers on you. They own you. How
Can't
dare
no
you
dude
leave
roll
me?
up.
How dare you? I didn't give you permission to leave me. Ummi, you can't go nowhere until I tell you you can go.
And when I left, he told me that I was gonna never get nothing from him. So meaning child support, alimony, whatever. Because I could have asked for alimony, I didn't do that. I was just trying to get myself out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get out of it, and still to this day, every time I hire a new attorney to take this back to court, they sit there and they look at my divorce decree, and they say that in your divorce decree, it clearly states that it was domestic violence in your household or involved in your case. How is it that he still got them children?
He has to know somebody, just like you said. It's just
Because it's not
ridiculously
adding up.
suspicious. Yeah, that is at all.
That's what
Hmm.
I said. But it's cost me a lot of money, but I don't think I would ever like remarry. I don't think I'll ever remarry. And more than likely, I'm probably not having no more chillings. I done had enough of that. I'm like, no, but when you had them babies and you don't know what you done laid down with and made a baby with, all type of stuff can come out. And people be sitting there, oh, well, my baby do this, and I don't know why he do that. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that his daddy did that, huh? Stuff comes out. It comes out in the children. So it's a big thing to think about. I don't think people actually sit down and think about, okay, yeah, when I create this life, we're going to be attached as a unit, regardless if we're together or not, or if we're going to be friendly or friends or not. And you don't know how it's going to go, because I really thought when I filed that divorce, I was at a domestic violence shelter and they just made it seem like, oh, just file the divorce. I went down there, filed my divorce, filed my own paperwork, did my own motions. I should be a paralegal by now, because I know how to go down there, file motions and stuff. I'm for real. So
tell me this now, with everything that you have been through and still going through it, right? Because the kids are still minors.
Still going through it.
Tell me this, as you think back over your relationship with this guy, were there any early warning flags that you didn't know what you were seeing, since nobody told you nothing, that you, before you married him, was there something that you noticed that now raises a question in your mind and said, oh, that was it, I just didn't know what I was seeing?
Well, one for me is that he had an ex that we grew up together, and she ended up on drugs. And he stayed with her for a long time, but she was like a hard user. He stayed with her for a long time, and then they finally split, but I never knew what really happened, because he was telling people, oh, she just depressed and, you know, she having her little issues or whatever, but it really wasn't into details. But I felt like later on down the line, going through my experiences, that it was probably something that he was doing. Because if somebody is mistreating you and you don't know what's going on, like I wasn't able to identify abuse until after I left my ex-husband and had to go to group therapy. And that's when I found out what abuse was. Because even what I went through as a child, and my mother, because my mother was verbally abusive and stuff, I thought everybody went through that. I was like, okay, I'm here, but I went to school. I was an honor student, graduated early, wasn't a bad kid, but I thought that was normal, but I didn't know how to identify that that was not normal until I got into the counseling. And a lot of people are scared of counseling, and I believe in counseling. Everybody needs counseling. And everybody needs somebody to talk to, need a little friend or whatever, but I'm pro counseling, because you never know what somebody's story is. You
That's
never
right.
know what they're going through. You never know.
Okay. So he just some suspicion that he was involved in something very abusive, and that she internalized it, and so she ended up on drugs
Right.
versus beating the stew out of him.
Right.
Okay. Anything that he did or said directly to you?
Um, the thing about him always throwing up the children, that was a thing for me. But before we had children, he was always like overprotective. Oh, well, where you going? He used to time how long he used to take me to go to the store and stuff.
What?
Yeah, so I had a certain time frame that I had to be back, or I was doing something. He always wanted to go places with me, even though it wasn't like, maybe I was going out with some females, some girls, ladies' night, whatever you want to call it. He wanted, oh, well, I'll tag along. And he'll even go to the point to where I'll be like, I'm not even gonna I ain't gotta sit at the table with y'all. I'll go sit somewhere else. So you just watching us.
Oh, how bizarre. Did he have any friends of his own?
He had friends, but he didn't have he had friends from like high school and stuff. So he probably had like 2 or 3, but most of them everybody was married and stuff. I didn't see them do anything bad, but you really don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I
Right.
don't care what anybody say on that, because behind closed doors, it's a whole nother person.
Exactly.
And they
People
put on a
always
good
say, "Oh, they
front.
have a great marriage," and you don't know that. You don't know that.
You don't know. It looked good.
So do you have any words of warning for women about having children with the guy who displays these possessive, controlling, narky behaviors?
Yes. For the ladies out there that's trying to have babies or making babies, y'all think about it, because it's not a guarantee that you're gonna be able to get away from them, that they're gonna let you go. Because I'm still dealing with my ex-husband, and we've been divorced over 10 years, and he does it in different ways. But it's not a guarantee that they're just gonna let you go. Yeah, you got away legally on paper, but that don't mean that he's not gonna be sitting outside your house. That don't mean he's not gonna be calling CPS on you. They do all type of stuff. Make up fake police reports. All they need is your name and your birthday. That's it. A description. They can tie you up in all types of stuff. He's tried whole bunch of stuff. So even with the whole giving the name and the description stuff, so
You
you'll
see,
be
but then see,
surprised.
this is the thing. Oh, I'm not surprised at all. But what really, I think the only part that really makes me have a question, because narcs, they are what they are. What is always intriguing to me is the women that they get with, who see them doing this kind of stuff to another woman, and yet they stay with them.
And they don't say nothing either.
Yes. And they just be like, you see him focusing on this other woman all the time. That's all he's thinking about. He's with you, allegedly, but he's always thinking about her, how he's going to hurt her, what he's going to do to her, how he's going to drag her through the mud. He's going to levy
Right.
some kind of false charge. He's going to stalk her. He's going to call her. He's
Right.
going to hunt her down. But yet you're with him. How does that work? That's the part that I can't wrap my mind around that part. And what you just said, how the woman was coming and she gonna sit in front of your house and follow you and stuff too. That's what I'm talking about. What are these chicks thinking? What kind of mentality is that you're gonna
I think it
participate
has
in
to
the
do with
narc games?
I think it has to do with her mental health too, though, because
Uh,
I think she's enduring. I think she's going through abuse and stuff too. That's what I believe, because she's not happy. You worried about what I'm doing? I got 4 babies, doing my thing, paying my child support, and you worried about what I'm doing? You ain't got nothing else to do. You ain't got no. And then she has her own children that she has with him. So it's almost like a
oh, they had some
competition
kids
between.
together.
They have children together, so it's almost like a competition in between when my children are over there with them, with her children, because she treats them different. It's a whole mess.
Well,
Whole
at
mess.
some point, your kids are gonna get sick of that, and they're gonna, be old enough to say, "We don't want to live here anymore."
Right. They already to that point. And my daughter come crying to me all the time, Mama, my daddy cheap. Why he cheap? Everybody else getting stuff. Everybody else, they mama buying them stuff, and he not buying us stuff, or getting them in activities like the extracurricular activities and stuff. He don't do none of that with them because they failing in everything now. It's bad. And the courts do not care. Just because you're a woman with children do not mean that they will not take your visitation and stuff away and put you on child support. Because it is plenty of women out here paying for child support. And sometimes I wish I had the courage to be like, you know what? Y'all teenagers, mama gotta go. I see you when to see you. And gone. Because it's just like, how much more money is it going to cost? As much money as I done put out in the courts, I done paid his child support. It's not cheap.
I mean, at some point you might want to, have that conversation, because in a couple of years, they'll be old enough where they can take the bus and do whatever they need to do to get to you on their own. And,
Right.
you know what I mean? So at
Right.
some point, it's like throwing good money after bad. And plus it gives him the satisfaction that he's, spending your money and dragging you. So at some point, that would be something really, I'm serious, as part of the chess game. Instead of spending that money on that, put it in the bank for the kids for when they go to college, and tell them that's
Right.
what you're going to do. And tell them I'm not going to fight this no more until you all get older. Then you come find me.
Right. I've been thinking about it because I'm getting old. I got little gray hairs trying to pop up. You
You
is
see
not
how I'm
gonna make me
covering
age
mine.
fast. You is not gonna make me age fast. Them children didn't even do that. We not gonna play them games. I don't look my age. Almost mid-30s. I don't look my age. I still look like I'm 18 something. You ain't finna take my youth from me. No,
Get it, girl.
sir.
So do you
No,
have any
sir.
closing words of wisdom for the ladies who just heard? Your story is just a nightmare. Just like you right. Once you get involved with them and have kids, it's a wrap.
Yup, it is. Just to keep their head up because I know there's other women out there that's probably listening that's going through it or maybe considering having children, but it needs to be considered because if he treating you any old kind of way, he gonna do them babies any old kind of way. Cause they don't care. Yeah, it came from them, but it's not like how it is with mothers or how I feel. It's not like that with mothers. Our attachment is a little bit different, but it don't matter. They use them like little pawns,
That's it.
like little toys.
They just use them as a way to get to you. That's it. That's the only way,
Correct.
only thing they care about.
Correct. So just hold their head up, keep going, um, and stay away. Look for these red flags because right now the pickings is slim, real slim. If they is, it's slim. I said, man, I feel like an old lady now because I'm old school. You need to give me a house and an acre of land and stuff. I'm old school. Where y'all at? They not.
They're already
Oh,
married. That's
if they
that's what
already
most of them.
married.
They're already married, or
Oh,
they're not into women.
yep. It's a big percentage on that.
Right. Well, I'm glad you caught up with me, courageous Umi, so we can have this conversation. I appreciate you sharing, the inside battles with the narc dad about the children and how they use it as a tool to wage war. This is good. I hope women listen. Everybody will be
Yeah.
having these babies by these fools, and then here come the dragon drama, and they're sitting there just looking shell shocked, like I'm sure you did at first too. But now you got
Yeah.
your battle. You a veteran now. You a veteran
Yeah.
of the
I'm a
war.
pro now.
Yeah, you she got the medals and the t-shirts and all kind of stuff.
Right.
Girl. Well, I appreciate you stopping by to, share your story. And you have the honor of being the last one of this round. I'll plan to pick this up again in the fall after we get done with the DNN. I only like to do one special program at a time. But you're closing out this one with a bang, I tell you.
Big bang.
Big,
That's
big,
a
really
life. That's
big.
that's that. That's that lifetime, and y'all just heard a portion. That's a lifetime. I'm working on the book. That's a lifetime story.
It sounds like it. And it sounds like something a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women would really be able to identify with because, like you said, this is the story that a lot of women are going through, but it's not really talked about that much.
Right.
Well, thank you, girl. And you guys, you and the kids, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you on the wall. Okay, be sure when this goes up to stop by and interact with the viewers because I'm sure they'll have questions.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
later. Bye bye.